And welcome back to episode 16 of the Football Fanatic podcast. I'm your host, Declan O'Connor. With me, as usual, Howard Costa and Daniel Coulter. And back by popular demand is our own Peter Drury, Kieran O'Connor. Kieran, how are you?
I'm very well, lads. How is the podcast holding up at episode 16? Amazing.
I'm fairly shocked we got by 10, but we're still rolling. It's going very well. Yeah, we seem to have a following that seems to be tuning in, listening, or watching each week. I don't know if it's for me, Dan, or Howard, but they're watching for some reason. We must be doing something right.
Or the
How are
magic.
you've been good?
I've been good. Yeah, I've been busy. I've been so busy that I haven't been able to appear in the podcast, but I got a haircut
I
and
see that.
my locks are chopped and I'm back. I'm back refreshed.
The
I'm
curls
ready
are
to.
gone, man. You don't look great.
I got a new
Yeah,
do for the Christmas season.
you were over
Okay,
with the
fair.
cartel as well, Kieran, weren't you?
I was in
Oh,
Mexico. I was
yeah.
undercover with the cartels in Sinaloa.
Just
Happy days.
actually for anyone listening or watching as well, he brought me home a present from Mexico. He was at a Mexican wrestling event and he brought me back a Rey Mysterio mask. And I tried it on and I
Yeah, you
won't
had to
be
bring it on
trying.
the
Have they
pod,
got
yeah.
there?
I don't.
Does it fit there?
It fits my head like just about. But yeah,
More
I
than I
won't
can
be
say
a
about my head now, to be honest. I tried it on the first night and I gave up pretty quickly.
lot of hope. If you have anyway like a big head, good luck. But yeah, I tried it on, but I won't be showing anyone what it looks like. It looks fucking awful. Okay. Busy weekend of football, and we will get straight into it. We'll start at the big game at the top, which was Manchester City versus Liverpool. Ended in 1-1. Um, I thought it was a good game without being a brilliant game. I do think the City slightly shaded it, but we were, as Dan has said to me over the weekend, we were passive. Um, there's a question mark over the disallowed goal. The foul on Allison. Um, I'll just get your thoughts and comments on it. Start with Dan, from a Liverpool perspective. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was an okay game. I think
Hmm.
I think because we've been kind of spoiled over the last couple of weeks with games like the Chelsea Spurs and the City Chelsea.
Yeah,
So I had big expectations that I think on it that it would be a really good game. I didn't think it lived up to that or at all. I thought it was whether it be the time of day it was on and after the international break. It looked like two teams as well that weren't really in rhythm. Yeah, I agree with you. I think City probably did shade it as in when they got into our final third, they looked an awful lot more threatening than we when we got into your final third. I thought we were very poor. Like we in certain aspects, I thought like were several opportunities I thought where we got into to near within kind of City's goal range and just that final pass. There was just I don't know just a bit disjointed or something. Like in the last few weeks, I mean, that kind of chance we would have created something and scored probably more than likely a couple of goals. And I thought we could get at City quite well. But at the same time, then like when they're coming at you, there was a lot of heart and mouth moments during that game, particularly with Doku in the first half in
yeah,
particular. Was very good, but yeah, I thought City is the home team. Like they only had one shot on target second half. I didn't think Haaland scored a goal, and it was shocking defended from us. But I didn't think he was great in the game. I thought Silva and Doku were probably the standouts
yeah.
for City. And like, look, Trent got the goal, and it was very much needed. But I don't know. A lot of people were saying at the time that it felt like Liverpool were on top. Like they looked like they were going to get one. I didn't really feel that way. I don't know. We had a lot of corners and stuff, and we were putting on, if you want to call it, pressure, but there wasn't a whole lot of we didn't really test Ederson too much. And again, creativity wise, I don't think we were great. So again, I thought it was a massive point and like delighted with it. But you did reference as well that the goal that wasn't a goal, but like it was like that was very soft on Allison. And I think that's the kind of whole rhetoric for years that we see with goalkeepers where they're so well protected. And I think it was clear there as well that Allison got the look of the draw there, because if that went against you, I'm sure you have a different opinion on it, Declan, as well. But if I went against you,
Yeah,
like, it was so soft. There was very little. It was a little small. Two of them were competing for the ball. Like there was very little in it, and I think Allison got away with one. And actually, he was probably one of our poorest players on the day, even though he made
yeah.
a good saves. But he was not himself.
Uncharacteristically,
Yeah,
he just seemed. I don't know. I was watching it, and you'd usually be fairly confident when you're watching Allison on the ball, but for whatever reason, he seemed to take like a second or two longer on the ball, and yeah, and he made one mistake that went to Foden and led to nothing. But yeah, it was just it wasn't the usual Allison that we're used to. Just on the foul, Howard and Kieran, do you think it was right to be given as a foul?
I text you straight away. I was like, it was never a
Yeah.
foul, never a foul. Like you can see why the referee could gave it because okay, there's a guy jumping and he hits into the goalkeeper or into Allison. Like you can kind of understand. They're a bit whistle friendly when it comes to contact on goalkeepers, but surely the VAR looks at that and they're like, it's a goal. Like, if you look at that properly and they're like where is are they checking it? And if they're checking it, what are they saying? Oh, his hand is touching Alisson's shoulder. Like it's compare
that
that
whole
to,
thing clear and obvious, isn't it? That whole thing again of like
Yeah.
it looked clear and obvious to me that it was
Kieran,
soft.
that's sorry, just I don't even bring up the Newcastle game again, but compare that to the two hands in the back of the head of Gabriel, and that wasn't a foul. Like
Howard,
let it go. I know.
Let it go, man. Let it go. It's over and done with.
It definitely came up. That definitely came through my mind when I saw it, though.
They're not going to change it. They're not going to respond.
He's not
to
a goalkeeper,
though.
Gabriel's not a goalkeeper.
No, but is there different rules for goalkeeper? Is it technically? Is there actually something in the? Is there something in the rule book there? I actually don't know. Is there actually a clause?
Kieran as a former goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Kieran as a former goalkeeper. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Well, look, I think goalkeepers occupy the most vulnerable position on the pitch, and I think protection is paramount to their position. I think it's important that we must protect. No, I'm not super serious on that. I think it was a soft decision, and I think it is kind of opening up a conversation of is it like overcompensating for goalkeepers because they have the use of their hands to go into these challenges and they do willingly fly about the place. And sometimes they also play into it and they almost expect the challenge and they go for it because they think they're going to get the free out. For this, I think it was a soft decision. Yeah. And I think that goal stands. It's a completely different game. I only saw the highlights. So what stage in the game was it? Second half?
Well, City were 1-0 up in the first half.
Yeah, so a totally different game. If it's 2-0 City will try and see the game out. But what happened in the end was that I think Trent Alexander, his redemption continues. Not that there was ever really any doubt about his quality because he is just so good, but there was a kind of narrative around him that was he over it? Was he being played out of position? Was he able to play? And should he be playing in midfield? But what Liverpool have done quite successfully is find that way for him to come central when they're attacking and then revert. And for the challenge of the day being to contain Doku, for him to mostly do that, but also go up the field and score a goal, really just shows how instrumental he is for that team again.
Speaking on Trent Alexander's position in the team, is there an argument to be said for moving Trent up the field as Carragher suggested, bring in a new right back, move Trent up? Dan?
Yeah, I could see it. I think Trent he wasn't too bad, bar like he was at fault or part of the fault for the goal that City got. In the actual game, in general, one-to-one defending is atrocious. Most of the time, I think Ogben there a few weeks ago against Luton, he got absolutely destroyed. Now, granted, how much help he gets can be questionable in that as well with Salah and how they're filling the gaps when he is. Like they'd even showed it in the highlights about how he's always on the front foot. He's always looking to push forward, and that's just his game. I do agree with them as well. Like I said, Kevin De Bruyne, he is he's got an absolute wand of a right foot. I don't think Klopp will do it because he's been questioned on it for the last year, and he kind of feels where he's playing him now, that's his position, and he kind of referenced that. That's when as long as he's manager. I don't think they're going to do that. But the goal he got was kind of a midfielder's goal, wasn't it?
Is he playing full on right back now? He's not introverting at all, like Zinchenko or now. He's not doing any of that.
Well, he kind of is. If you look at the game, I think he is. I think the game against City, that's what he kind of was playing. It's kind of like that Zinchenko or Cancelo was doing it well for City then as well. He gets into midfield and gets on the ball. It's not that he's not doing it, but I suppose in the game that it was, Doku was getting so much space and was flying down the left and stayed so wide. not Trent back into his, what you want to say, natural position. But in a lot of our games this season, he has been marauding into midfield and spraying ball. Look, he's not getting as many assists like that he's got in previous seasons, but at the same time, look, he has been a bit of a liability. He's been Liverpool's weak link defensively for a long time, and seen it on Saturday again like that. That's where that City had exploited. So for me, I just don't think it'd happen. I'd be interested to see it. Yeah, I'd prefer if we had a right back. Like, I don't break Gomez. I would be putting him there, so I'd be going out and buying one. And I would like to see it, but I just don't think that, from what Klopp has said, that he will he's open to it. In saying that, England seem to be in a different ball game. He seems that's out a midfielder for them now, isn't he? So you never know. But I would. If it was up to me, I would anyway. Yeah.
Is it really interesting, like how the game has developed over years? All of a sudden, the kind of the fullbacks now are kind of coming into midfield and stuff like that. And it's the likes of Klopp and Guardiola that have kind of brought that to England. But as well as that, I suppose.
Just on that, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I don't know. Did you see the Zinchenko had an interview a while back with was it Rio Ferdinand or something? But he was talking about the left back introverted role and like the difficulties if you go in there. You know, what does the right winger from the other team do? You know, does he follow? If he follows, then you know your right winger or your left winger, let's say Martinelli or whoever, has a free run at their fullback. And that was the interesting thing. And like he was kind of saying, well, if he comes with me, and then if he doesn't come with me and doubles up Martinelli, I have a free roam midfield to, you know. So it seems so simple, you know, if you think about it. But it
seems simple, right? Absolutely. But like our managers, this isn't a dig at Guardiola because I think he's brilliant, but are they overcomplicating the game? Back in the 90s, whatever, like it was 4-4-2, simple as. Whereas now you have these inverted fullbacks. You have your double pivot, which I don't know what the hell a double pivot is. Like, and just I've heard it so often over the last few months. I'm just going to pretend I know what it is. But go ahead.
I think Cancelo was like he was the best when he was at City. That's when I think it started to really come into focus because he was so effective in that position. When I put him in there, like he was unbelievable. And he was creating. He was like the most creative player for a period of time there. Now look, again, as Howard said, there are teams that kind of copying onto it. There seems to be more teams that are open to doing it as well, though. Like you look as well, even at like Spurs, like the likes of Udogie and that as well. Like he just be playing nearly everywhere. You see him all over the pitch. You know, like there's other teams that seem open to doing it, but I don't think they're overcomplicating it. I just think it's just it's a different style. It's a different way of you know, like the more than the style of football that City are playing, or like that Liverpool are playing that as well. Like everything kind of evolves. Players are obviously fitter. They're training better. They're healthier. You know, the game is quicker. Pitchers are better. Boots are better. Balls are better. You know what I mean? So the game is always evolving. Unfortunately, VAR hasn't made it better, I don't think. So that's
and you have to adapt to keep up as well, because like as Dan says, the game is evolving so much where it's gone beyond a simple 4-4-2, pass it up the front. And if you don't adapt, then you have something like maybe the Stephen Kenny situation with Ireland, where you could not adapt in game, or you could not adapt to changing tactics and so on.
Vincent Company, Kieran.
So you get found
doesn't
out.
like to talk about it. Yeah, doesn't talk about it at all.
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed in like this season compared to last season with teams like playing against, let's say, that inverted role, but what they seem to be doing now is they're bringing a striker back. Like, so when Arsenal are playing and they have Zinchenko in, their striker is coming back into midfield and they're flooding midfield there, because it works as well, because if you outnumber the other team in midfield, like you know, with your Pep kind of style, you just strangle them with your possession. Like, so the teams in Premier League seem to have copped on a bit, and you know the strikers coming back and acting in as a fifth midfielder in a lot of games I've noticed, and it tends to, you know, kind of nullify it to a point. Like,
I don't know if we'll end this game on a funny note. Actually, at the weekend during the game, the cameras, they were very close, obviously, to some City fans, and they picked up like a comment that it was aimed at Nunes. It was like, "Piss off, Nunes, you fucking knobhead." It was fucking brilliant. And the cameras picked it up and everything was excellent.
It was a
Um,
City fan, was it? That
the City fan aimed at Nunes, and he said the exact same thing then about Trent, literally 2 seconds later.
But the just
Um,
just on the Nunes thing, like and it's what Dan was saying earlier, like they had so many chances, kind of, on the break a bit, Liverpool, and with the attack that we've all said they've brilliant attack, it just didn't click, did it? It was like sometimes there was a pass to Salah or there was a pass to Jota, and it was just behind them or that. And I thought there was a few times that they probably could have taken advantage of it.
I
And
think so. Yeah.
I also think City have a bit of fear of Liverpool. Like if that was,
of course,
if that
we
was
know we do,
Arsenal,
100%.
that was Arsenal
Absolutely.
there, I think they would have wiped the floor. They wouldn't have played like they did. They would have played better. But I think they have a lack of confidence against, well, not lack of confidence. They have a bit of respect or fear or whatever you want to call it
No, there
against
is.
the likes of Liverpool.
Great point for Liverpool, though. It was a
They
great
didn't
point.
know it was. Absolutely agree with that. Just a quick one. So I suppose City are Arsenal on top, City are in second, Liverpool, Villa, Spurs. It's so close. Why do you think it's so close this season as opposed to last season where Arsenal were quite a bit ahead at one stage? But like, what has happened? Have City declined? Have others improved? Is it just do you have any opinion as to why it is so close, like with a third of the season gone?
My take.
I think the teams are better.
I
I just think a lot. It's simple. Like a lot of the teams that were poor, like Liverpool were poor for a lot of last season. Spurs were very inconsistent. Where you're kind of looking at the start there, and then like Villa, we all talked about at the start of the season. The Villa had a great summer. It's not a surprise that maybe it's a surprise that they're leveling points with Liverpool. You could say at this stage of the season, but it's not a surprise that they're doing well because they're one of the best managers in the league. They got really well in the summer, so they strengthened. Brighton have kind of gone off the boil a bit. Like at the start of the season, though, again they look extremely strong. Chelsea are just a fucking mixed bag of I don't know what's going on there. And then look, United, we talked about a couple weeks ago in there as well. I don't think they've had a good game at all this season yet. Look, they're still there and in around.
They're 6 points off the top.
They're 1 point better than they were last year.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
No, and they're happy out going under the radar. Like they're happy out there, right, and getting roll up. I like that. They're in it as well. So that's what I think anyway. That's my
and it makes sense. It's very simple. Like some teams have improved. City probably haven't been as strong as they were. Arsenal haven't been as strong as they were, despite still being good. Howard, what do you make of it? Same as Dan?
Same as I think what I'd say is that we have a lot of like really good managers out in the league. Like your Emery's, Andrews has come in, and like that kind of them. Your Aston Villas and your Tottenham's, them kind of lingering around the sixth place if they got a hold of a good few managers. Like Ten Hag is a good manager as well. Like the level of manager in them top six positions are like they're quality managers. So I think that has played an impact. Like Emery obviously has had an impact on Villa and on where they are at the moment, and they spent their money wisely. Newcastle have come in because they have the financial backing that they have. So look, it makes it exciting, really, doesn't it? Like, but we'll see how many of these teams hang around till after Christmas.
Kieran, the final word with you.
Yeah, it's a different season in the second half of the season. We saw that last year. We've seen that other years, so I wouldn't get too overexcited just yet.
Okay.
This is City first half of the season. That's just kind of the way they go. They don't really take off, isn't it? After Christmas, that's been seen.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Spurs 1, Villa 2. So again, I was watching the match. So Spurs had a lot of chances. They hit the post. The goal was very good by Lo Celso, but likewise, Villa's goals were just as good. Poor defending, I thought, for the second one for Villa on Spurs' behalf. Fantastic header by Torres for equaliser. Just as you said, Dan, Villa have an excellent manager. They recruited very well, and it just seems to be clicking. Douglas Luiz seems to be having a fantastic season. Ollie Watkins seems to have taken it up a level. We spoke about him earlier on in the first few episodes of the podcast. Spurs, Kieran, I'm going to come to you now with this because you're in love with Ange. So like 10 games, after the first 10 games, they were flying. Last few games, not so much. Now, fair enough, injuries and suspensions have been a key reason for that, but Roy Keane at the weekend called it Spursy, so it hasn't completely gone away.
That's good. I hadn't heard that. Yeah, Spurs are doing Spursy, but everyone has a smile on their face, and you know, as an Angie true believer, it's tough to see what's going on right now. But I suppose hope springs eternal, and true believers see the light. It's. I mean, Villa keep going from strength to strength, but Spurs are still. You know, it's kind of like Angie Postecoglou's late toy show. The players might be stalling, failing, or falling apart, and the end result might be bemusing and amusing, and a mix of humor and baffling performances. But the crowd are still going home. There's still something for everyone in the audience, and isn't that the greatest gift of all?
Jesus Christ, Howard, on to you.
Jeez, it would have been good. He would have been a good guest on the late toy show, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
All right, mate. Look, the injuries. Like when you're playing Emerson Royale, center back, you're going to have problems. Like so, and bringing in Brian Gill, who was never going to make it. Well, they got him in ages ago, and they never made it, and they're bringing him back again. Like so, look, they have. You could blame the injuries and all that, but they have. They're I think they're gone. They're gone now. They're a team, you see, that like they could lose a good few players, and it will affect them. You know what I mean? And they have, once the momentum goes out of them, this is the the Spursy effect. They start diving. But Villa were very impressed. I thought, Watkins, like that goal that Watkins got was a real goal that like an on-form striker gets. Like
he's playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah. So like. You wouldn't know. Like they have a good team on paper. Like they're actually Douglas Luiz is killing it in there in midfield. Like they have a really strong team, so it's not like they're just really overperforming either. So, I could see them hanging around for a while. Villa, like
absolutely, yeah.
The Ange thing is gas that he's got 3 managers a month or 2 managers a month or whatever it is, and now he's like below Aston Villa. I don't know how that works, but anyway,
he was so what's the word, kind of complimentary of the team despite the loss. Like he's so positive in his interviews afterwards as well. Like he is like a really good manager to have in the Premier League. Again, I knew nothing about him when he came from Celtic. But Dan, any thoughts on the game on Villa going up?
Yeah, but look, they are. We mentioned on the pod there, like if they could just get their away form going, like 113, I think, on the bounce at home. They're a really solid outfit. As Howard said, I think the same. I think they're not going anywhere. Or again, if they got a couple of injuries, like Watkins was to get injured, like look, Spurs. The reason being is they lost their 2 centre halves, and they're probably the best player in the league up until he got injured, which was Maddison. So, and we did say that Maddison is the linchpin there. They don't have another midfielder, creative midfielder like him, in their side. And defensively, like Emerson Royale, I wouldn't even trust him to have a kit, like, to carry the kit bag. Never mind have him in the team at all. I think he's really poor, and put him at centre back, like fuck me. It just goes to show you though, like that they. There's a lot of change there. Like I don't know if I messaged into the group there at the weekend. I didn't realize that Lo Celso still played for Spurs.
Neither did I. I thought he was gone.
I
was like,
he went on loan, did he? Or
is he the lad that done the what do you call that? The goal was against Arsenal. The one where he is it
no,
that was Lamela. You were thinking.
I was Lamela, right? Yeah. But I was there looking going Lo Celso. I was like, I didn't realize he even was still at Spurs. They're. When you take out a few of them key players, like the players that are coming used to there as well, Gill, there's other lads there that are on the bench that they've never done it at Spurs. So
I just look at their bench here: Brandon Austin, Jamie Donnelly, Alfie Dorrington, Alejo Velez. Like this is the very
future. It's the future.
Very strange. I know there were a lot of injuries, but
it's actually I'm going over to City versus Spurs this coming weekend, so it's a game I can't wait for. Because I suppose Spurs have so many injuries, but they're still playing, or at least they're trying to play good football. But I am, once it comes to the predictions, I'll be interested to see what you say, because that's one of our games.
Okay.
But
sorry, go ahead. Sorry, no, sorry.
I'm expecting a City win, and I'm hoping for a few goals, because I think Spurs are very vulnerable at the moment. And I've seen their list of injuries. Like the key players, as you said, are out. And I mean, I think is it 3 how many defeats on the bounce now?
3, yeah.
So 3 on the bounce. I mean,
3 on the bounce, yeah.
I mean, if
could
kind of, it could be 4. So I mean, we'll see what happens with Spurs, but the whole kind of start of season, spring may have very much kind of
They play
stopped.
well against City, though, don't they? There's always something there. I think last season the bet City did it. I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
So I know, yeah,
I
they're a
just
different beast at the moment.
I just think, as Dan was saying, like the players that they are missing, the best player in the league is, he's out. So
Well, like put it this way, right? So I have a quote from him here, which I just thought was very interesting, right? So he said, "The amount of times I hear managers saying I would like to play this way, but I don't have the players, I just think, just do it, mate." Right? So that was his quote.
hold on, can you do this in Australian accent any better?
But just do it, mate. I don't know. So anyway, so I read it and I read it back a couple of times. Like, okay, right. So we went back, rewind a small bit to the madness with the Chelsea game and deciding what he did, which was ended the high line with 9 men, whatever like that. I just, a good friend. I wonder is he good friends with Stephen Kenny, because Stephen Kenny would have had the same approach there, like, to just, I don't have the players, but we play it anyway. Like, I just get the feeling, like, for example, he's going to go to the Etihad at the weekend and probably play a very, very high line. And, like he'll probably expect Emerson Royale to play out in the back. Like, I just question, that's all well and good and it's great and it's exciting. But, again, the more than maybe Vincent Kompany and Burnley, and it's unfair to compare both of them, but it's fair enough, like, you respect it to a point. That's his style of play and that's what he wants to play. But, like, you have to kind of use your brain.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
Is he a bit naive?
Will I be Sunday the City game?
Sunday.
It'll hell a lot, because I just think if he plays at a high line, especially with the people that are, is Romero back?
Is he back from suspension? I don't know if next one is his last game.
Yeah, like you just, I'd be concerned for Spurs. That's what he will do. And look, it'll probably be an exciting game. But just have a feeling, that fair enough, that's the way he wants to play. And I'm not trying to knock him, because it's good entertainment, like, but at the same time, you need to be able to kind of, in certain games, to be able to change your style or to make a few little adjustments, not just go, we're going to go gung-ho every single game. Because if they do it anyway, put it this way, if they do that against City on Sunday, at that high line, they'll be exposed. Haaland will get a hat-trick easily.
Yeah. We'll see. Now, the final game review, Everton 0, Man United 3. So we have been quite critical of Man United at times on this podcast. I'm going to suggest now, have we seen a small little resurgence? Because their performance, although Everton were pretty good at times as well, did we see a little bit of fight from Man United yesterday? I thought, for example, Bruno Fernandes as captain, given the penalty to Rashford, it's the type of thing a captain should do. He was involved with 2 goals. There seemed to be something different about Man United yesterday. Kieran, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think when you were in kind of crisis mode, however many games ago, the line was they just needed a couple of maybe undeserved victories to steady the ship, and then they can start playing ball again, or they can kind of get back to the principles in which Ten Hag is trying to instill in them, albeit with some caveats. They're in fairness to them, they're kind of doing that. The form somehow amazingly. Yeah.
Nobody gets it. Doesn't make sense, but it just doesn't make sense.
But they've been grinding out a couple of, Scott McTominay to the rescue there a couple of games ago with the 2 late goals. I think Maguire bagged the goal in the game there 1 or 2 ago as well. And then
just finish your point, then I'll ask. Go ahead.
And then this weekend we actually saw, I know Everton had chances and they could have taken the game and got something from it, but in the end, United were in control, and that was in no small part due to Garnacho scoring an absolute worldie, and it's going to be in the top 10 goals of all time in the Premier League, I think, without a doubt. Is up there with Rooney's bicycle kick as well. Still relying on moments of brilliance to an extent, and still papering over those cracks, but they're also still doing enough to be where they are, obviously.
Okay, and just all very valid points. The question I had was that McTominay, since his kind of resurgence, has found himself back in the team quite a lot. Likewise, Maguire is now back in the team. Seems to be a constant in the team now as well. Like, these are not players that Ten Hag has clearly kind of warmed to in his first season, but yet has he changed his tune? So, like, Dan, Howard, what did you think? Maguire and McTominay back in the team. I don't think they will be Ten Hag's first choice in last season, but all of a sudden he has had to turn back to them. What do you make of that?
He tried to sell both of them, didn't he?
That's what I mean. Like, he wanted rid of them, but now, like, having those 2 in the team, it seems to give them a little bit of fight or something like that. I don't know what it is. So I mean, is it forcing him to go back on his philosophy, if you want to call it that, Howard?
I don't think it's gone back to his philosophy. He just doesn't have any other players to play, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
But like,
Martinez. Well, I know what you did, but Martinez, let's say, would have played had Lindelof, and now Varane seems to have gotten the cold shoulder from Ten Hag. So
yeah,
whatever's going on there, you know, he's preferring Maguire. And Maguire, yeah, Maguire is actually, you know, you got to give him his perks because he's had a great few games, the last few games.
yeah.
So you know, fair play to him. But like their midfield, like that, McTominay and. Is it Manu or someone who's named after, like basically named after the club Man U? So he's he's in there center midfield instead of Casemiro or whatever. Casemiro must be injured, but like having them two in midfield, like, compare that to you know your Eriksen and Casemiro from last year. So there's a bit of a change there. I personally don't think they played great. I think they've done that in the last few games. They've got the win. They won 3-0, so you can't really complain. But
Yeah.
Everton had actually. Yeah, I know we were talking about XG before, and it's all here, you know, pie in the sky stuff. But they had a higher XG. Everton had a higher XG than than United over the game, so it wasn't just so one sided. But
they missed some great chances, Howard, didn't they? Jesus.
Yeah, missed some great. If they could have just finished, they would have been in it. But look, Man United keep winning games. So even though they're not playing well, they keep winning games. They're 6 points off the top. They still have half their team to come back. So like you know, I wouldn't underestimate. Luke Shaw is a big plus for them having him back.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
So look, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they go. The Garnacho goal, yeah, look, it was outrageous, wasn't it? Like
it was fantastic goal.
The leap he got, like, it was just
insane. On Everton, just very, very quickly, I suppose 10-point deduction came in. They're appealing it, so we'll see what happens there. That would have been a game where I genuinely thought they would have got something from Man United. I was listening on the radio about a review of the game last night as well. Like, they have some tricky fixtures coming up over the Christmas period. They have Burnley as well, actually, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, I mean, that is almost a must win, and it probably will be a likely win against Burnley. But they do have some tricky fixtures over the Christmas period. So they'd probably want to get their skates on pretty quickly because, I mean, you've seen what Luton are doing all of a sudden. You know, teams could start to pull away, and everyone is saying Everton, they'll be fine, etc. Lose a few games, and all of a sudden that idea might change. So we'll see what happens with there. Now, the rest of the results from the weekend. So Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. Howard, did you get to see any of this?
Yeah, I saw that game. Yeah, I saw it was it wasn't a great game. But like winning away to Brentford is tough going. I think Brentford have only won 2 games out of or only lost 2 games against the top 6 in the last like 2 seasons. So that was look at the getaway, and it was last minute. Ramsdale back in goal. He had a dodgy moment. I don't know if you saw that.
I heard about
Rice.
it.
Yeah, Rice was insane getting back. Like Rice has been just a linchpin there. He's been brilliant since they got him in. And then our main man Kai getting the winner. So he's just knocking it out of the box, and he's doing brilliant stuff. No, he's look, it was one of them things. You just needed a goal from somewhere, and I was delighted to that they got the 3 points. So
absolutely back on top.
Yeah,
that's the kind of goal that he get, isn't it? If they can kind of try and work. And I'm not a fan of his, but just he doesn't have a lot of his work outside the box.
Yeah,
if they had a more of a threat, making runs off players and getting into the box.
Yeah,
that's the kind of goal he'd score. A good few
and
of them,
having a bit of height in there as well. Like, I was looking at the replay. There was like 8 Brentford lads in the box, and like there was 2 Arsenal lads at the back post free, and one was being marked. Then, and a third one was being marked. So it was 3 Arsenal lads. So like basically, like 7 of the Brentford lads weren't even marking anyone, and the 2 lads at the back post. So obviously that was from the training pitch or whatever.
Great ball as well.
Great ball in from Saka. Yeah. So. Look, long way to go, but you need to win them kind of games.
Absolutely. Luton 2, Crystal Palace 1. So I mean, we were all laughing at them, and now all of a sudden, they're putting performances together, and they are getting an odd win. And because the kind of teams below them aren't exactly doing too well, they're starting to slowly kind of gather points and move away. We'll see. Newcastle 4, Chelsea 1. It's hard to make sense of what Chelsea are at the moment. they put in a excellent performance against City 4-all, and then they kind of go and lose 4-1 to Newcastle, to a very depleted team like at Newcastle. Like they're missing a lot through injury.
Can I ask you a question just on that?
Yeah.
Do you think that they were right in giving Reece James the captaincy?
Interesting.
Well, if he can't stay fit for
Who
most
would
of the season,
who would the
like-
alternative be though?
I don't know. It's just
Thiago Silva actually.
Yeah,
Silva, surely.
Yeah. Anyway, I just
It was an interesting one. He got sent off as well, so I mean, he obviously
They had
wasn't
Chilwell.
acting.
Chilwell was a captain at one stage, wasn't he? Or was
No,
he was
Gallagher.
captain instead of Reece James, or how did that happen?
I know Gallagher was captain for a while, wasn't he? Which is strange as well. But I suppose like running so many new players, what do you do? But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really, really unprofessional. And earlier in the season, I can't remember what game it was, but he had another one of them where he was booked already, and he probably should have got a second earlier in the season as well. So yeah, like that wasn't the reason why. Like Thiago Silva's mistake, and he never really makes a mistake at all. Like, it was a really bad one. As you said though, like it was a depleted. Chelsea were kind of more coming on the up, weren't they? And Newcastle were a lot of injuries, and then PSG as well. You would have thought one eye on PSG on is it Tuesday night, tomorrow night or whatever. But like they got a fair doing, didn't they?
Absolutely,
yeah. That punk Anthony Gordon keeps on rubbing the nose of all his doubters in the turf, including myself. It must be said. I don't know. I'm still an Anthony Gordon denier, but yeah, he keeps producing the goods, doesn't he?
They tend to do that though, don't they? Newcastle, like they'll destroy a team in 5-10 minutes and it'll be game over. Like, you know, they get a lot of, they can get like, you know, 3 or 4 goals and quick, because like from watching it, like it was like 1-1 and it was a tight game, like, and then all of a sudden I went to the toilet, I think, and it was like 3-1 and I came back, like, and it wasn't that long.
How long we in the toilet? Very good. Okay, so next one, Notts Forest 2, Brighton 3. Good away win for Brighton. Burnley 1, West Ham 2. I really felt sorry for Burnley at this one, because I mean the 2 goals that West Ham got were in literally in the 91st and the 90 whatever minute. But yeah, it hasn't worked out for. It's not working out for Vincent Kompany at all. And I thought at the start of the season he would be very, very unlikely to lose his job. But I mean, if things continue like this. Because I mean, they cannot get a win for love nor money. So I mean, if things continue like this and they have a bad Christmas, you could see him absolutely getting a chop. You know,
they're playing Sheffield United next. Just a look there. That's who their next game are home, Sheffield United.
Okay,
so you could argue whoever was to lose that game
might be on
the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheffield United 1, Bournemouth 3, and then tonight, as we're on actually at the moment, Fulham versus Wolves. I'd say that's a real blockbuster of a game. Okay.
It'll be 3-3 now.
Probably fucking will be 5-4 or something to Fulham. Okay, we'll move on. So the next segment, it's a unique one, but it's one that I'm fairly interested in, see what the lads think. Our second favourite team. So we all have our own specific teams that we support. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City. Kieran, you are Spurs, but I know when you're growing up, you were Celtic. Yeah. But for me, anyways, there was not a second favorite team, but a team I kind of kept an eye on. And I'm just curious as well, like, did you have a second favorite team, either past? So Howard, I'll start with you. If you tell your team and why.
Yeah, well, look, it's kind of a tricky one because you're always supporting your own team, I guess, and you kind of want any team that's playing your team to lose. But the team for me now that I thought was just an amazing story and everything was obviously the Leicester team in 15-16. Like they had, I think their whole team. I have the starting 11 here. Like Schmeichel in goal. He was 1.5 million they brought him in for. Fuchs, they brought him left back for free. Hoot, 3.8 million. Wes Morgan, 1 million. Danny Simpson, 2.2 million. Then you have Mahrez, who got the player of the season that year. 450,000 he cost.
Ridiculous.
Kante was their most expensive player for 8 million. Danny Drinkwater, 800,000. All Brighton, he was free. Vardy, 1 million he scored 24 goals, and Okazaki for 10 million. Like, he was the most expensive player up front. So it was just mad thinking, like, I think at the start, like when I started looking into this again, I forgot that this they were only in the Premier League 2 seasons when they went to win like that. I looked at it, I was like, "Jeez, that part of it is pretty mental that they actually."
Did they come up the year after? Remember the Watford and the Deeney goal, and that was in the playoff final. Did they come up the following year?
I think it was the following year after that. Yeah, so whatever that was, that 2012 maybe 2013, 2012.
No, Big Nige Pearson was in there for a while too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that season though. Like, Leicester, like they had a great start to the season, but of course everyone thought, look, this will fall off eventually, but it didn't. And all of a sudden, you're kind of finished November, you're into December. They had a really good Christmas, and then there was a game where they went to the Etihad, and Mahrez ripped us apart.
3-1, I think.
Yeah.
3-1.
And I remember kind of people saying, like, after at the start, they genuinely believed that something crazy could happen, but they just kept on fecking winning. And Vardy, the whole Vardy story, and it was unbelievable. It really was.
Yeah. I heard he was there. He was talking about his Red Bull addiction there recently. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's like drinking. He used to drink like liters of it before the game, like at different times. Like he get up in the morning and have like a 500 ml of thing. He said he used to drink Monster originally, and then he said, "I cut back. I went on to Red Bull then." Like, you know what I mean? This is what he was saying. But
I think they're making a movie about him. Honest to God, like, it's a crazy story. Like, he came
crazy story.
Starring Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah, it's fucking Jamie Vardy. But I mean, did he come from like what team? And he know what he came from to go to Leicester?
Was it Fleetwood Town? Was it Fleetwood Town?
Fleetwood.
Yeah.
That was it. And I mean, were Arsenal in from at one stage?
Yeah, he actually turned him down. He just said he turned him down.
Because he said that, look, Leicester came in for me when nobody else wanted me, and he's just said loyal to them now. So I mean, they're doing pretty well in the Championship, and as far as I know, what do you call it? He's scoring, like, he's doing well as well. So it's a hell of a story.
Yeah, 5,000 to 1 you would have got on them to win the league at the start of that season. So, put on an old punt on that. And Ranieri as well. He was he was such a likable coach, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was absolutely.
He's kind of like a bit of a dimple Italian in the on the side, a distressed Italian, with a handkerchief coming out and stuff like that. But no, he was a likable character as well. But no, overall, it was just a crazy story, I guess.
Brilliant story though. Kieran,
I want to take you on a journey.
Oh, shite. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I picked this team because they just represented a period in the Premier League, and there's a couple of teams like them. I guess Leeds, maybe at their most adventurous, might come to mind as well. But the team that I've settled on for this segment is Portsmouth, and Portsmouth from 2003 to 2010, the wonder years, fueled by financial adventure and eventually financial misadventure. I just want to run through some of the greatest hits there, because they were for a time a really exciting and really fun team to watch. In, was it Fratton Park, I think they played in, and it was a tough place to go to down the south of England there. But there's just some really let's say fun elements to their team. I mean, they came up with Harry Redknapp in charge, and in their first season he led them to 13th, respectable finish. And then by November 2004, just after the next season started off, he walked away. He over different issues, he walked away. But dramatically, in Harry Redknapp fashion, he came back again during 2005-2006 season and led them to, I think it was 8 or 9 to a top half finish that year. In the following season, he was sacked. Things weren't going to plan, so Portsmouth called on the assistant manager, none other than Tony Adams. There's some of these elements you're like, oh God, did he manage for a while? Was he in there? But Tony Adams was appointed in October, and he was let's say unappointed by February. Things didn't go to plan for Portsmouth, but they were backed all the time by a lot of big signings. And in 2008 they made 2007, 2008 they made the FA Cup final and lost to, I think, West Brom. But again, Portsmouth comeback kings in some ways. They came back the next year and won the FA Cup. So cue a UEFA Cup run as well in this mad 7-year season. And at one stage in the UEFA Cup, They were leading AC Milan 2-0. Followers of Athlone Town will recall our own exploits against AC Milan. But they threw away that lead and it ended 2-2. And just think of some of the footballing luminaries that they had at their club at the time. You had Peter Crouch, you had Yakubu, you had Glenn Johnson, you had Papa Dupa Diop
Papa Doobie
in there as well. Yeah, and of course, I think one of the all-time greats of the Premier League, especially at the noughties, they had Canu up top. Really silky things. The money ran out in 2010, and we all know what happened after that. But for a period of time,
just actually, what do you call it? Harry Redknapp was there, so I'm almost certain whenever he's at a club, he bought Nico Kranjčar. Was he a Portsmouth?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh, gee, fair enough.
Was Mario Melchiot? Was he there as well? I'm just thinking the other lads had.
He might have done a stint there. Yeah, it was very possible. Any journeyman did some time in Fratton Park, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
But for a stage, when things were really going south, the owner who bought out Milan Mandaric then sold the club for £1.
That's right.
And by 2010, things went down south. But they represented that kind of wild adventure that some clubs went on when they were kind of supported by, maybe unsustainable finances, and when the performances started slipping, so did the club. And I think, are they in League Two now? I mean, it's really been dire straits for them the last few years, but for a brief period of time, things were beautiful in the south.
One other guy that jumps to mind, Jermaine Defoe. He was there too.
Yeah, that's right.
The boys following around Harry in his car, like bringing him to matches, like back in under 12s, under 13 days. Come on,
I love this meme online. Whenever transfer deadline comes wrong, there's a picture of Harry saying he's getting the band back together. It's like it's Defoe and it's Crouch and it's Cranky and it's very good. Dan, who is your second team?
Yeah, I struggled with this one because I don't really. I suppose there's a couple of clubs that come to mind, but I wouldn't really have a good story like the other two guys there. I probably would have said my brother originally was a Leeds fan, so I remember that kind of time when things had gone south. Like they had some great players, even when things weren't going well, like some Mark Viduka, Alan Smiths, like real players who were you could get behind. Milner then got into the team. I remember that season they went down. He was like. He was 16 when he got into the team and was quality. Like they had Ian Hart and Gary Kelly. There was a load of kind of lads they had. So I just remember that time I would have supported, like I would have wanted Leeds to have done well because we're a supporter. And then he became a Newcastle fan, and I probably went through a period of that as well. Like definitely don't like them now though. But during that period when they were going through the relegation, I remember actually when they went into the championship, watching the games with Richard in the house and stuff, and wanted them to do well. And I've been to Newcastle 3 or 4 times. So like it's a savage city, and like it's an unbelievable stadium. Its atmosphere is unbelievable. So probably went through a period there through the Newcastle days with Shearer and Gary Speed. Look, there was a lot of good players. Bellamy was there for a while, wasn't he? There was a lot. Michael Owen went there for a while. So so there probably would have been an element of that as well. Outside of that, then when I was just trying to think of other teams, I remember that Arsenal team with Bergkamp and Henry, though. I just really liked watching them play because I think when Wenger came in and changed the style, like they were really good to watch. And I remember like when Liverpool weren't playing, like you'd want to watch an Arsenal game. Perez Youngberg was on Monday Night Football tonight, and he was quite like nobody talks about him. Like he was unbelievable during that period of time as well. He was a really good player. So I just enjoyed watching Arsenal play, but there wasn't really a standout where I kind of wanted to check was it Premier League that we were talking as well, because outside of that, Barcelona would have been the one that I always would have checked into outside of Premier League. So so that kind of was mine. I don't really have a great story behind it. I've seen the woes and the pain that relegation that battle to try and avoid the drop, and Newcastle relegated twice.
Yeah,
as well, weren't they? Yeah, during that period. So anyway,
very good. Now my team, it's actually, and you'll probably laugh, but it's from the mid to late 90s. Okay, it's Middlesbrough. All right, and I'll explain why. It's the Brian Robson, Brian Robson era. Fabrizio Ravanelli and Janino.
Yeah.
I mean, having them, they had Christian Carambou as well, the French player. They actually had one or two other players, one or two other foreign players as well. Like they didn't do anything. They done nothing major in terms of kind of finishing high up the table, but they made it to two League Cup finals year after year, in 96 and in 97, or it could be 97 and 98. And they made it to an FA Cup final in one of those years as well. And it was just, they were kind of down towards the bottom of the league, and they actually got relegated in 98. In the same year, they got to the League Cup final against Chelsea. For whatever reason, they just turned it on in the cups. And I love watching them play in the cups because they were shit in the league, but for whatever reason, Brian Robson had this love for the FA Cup and the League Cup. And seeing Ravanelli play with the collar up, and he had the kind of silver hair as well, like, and he came from Juventus, so like he was this kind of Hollywood kind of type player. I think he won the Champions League with Juventus in 94, 95. And he was there with Gianluca Vialli at the time as well, and he was just this star as
How
well
did
as
they get him? How did they even get him? Like,
it's a very good question, because I mean, he was this star that came to of all clubs in Middlesbrough, and yeah, it was just. I remember just watching the kind of finals. I think the first one was against Leicester. They brought it to a replay, and then Leicester won the replay. And again, if you watch the highlights of the game, Middlesbrough should have won the game. Ravanelli hit the bar a couple of times. And then the following year, they lost to Chelsea 2-0 and they got relegated. But for like those 2 or 3 years, it was just really fun watching them. And yeah, so kind of my second favorite team at the time. Like I haven't followed Middlesbrough in years, or I don't even know how they're doing at the moment. But back then, yeah, I loved watching Ravanelli and Janino. So that is my second favorite team. So we'll move on. The next segment now is our weekly competition. So it's the weekend predictions. So the weekend gone by, we had no winners, unfortunately. There was one or two correct predictions for one match, but unfortunately the 3 matches is yet to be cracked. So this week we're going for Newcastle versus Man United, Chelsea versus Brighton, and Man City versus Spurs. So again, if you are to correctly predict 3 of the scores, you win 2 match tickets to a Premier League team of your choice. So, Kieran, you're laughing. Go ahead. Why?
I hope I hope someone wins this someday so that the loan can be called in.
The loan. Look, man, Dan has been saying this weekly as well. Okay, like he loves to see me. He wants to see a picture. He wants to be there when I have to hand over the tickets.
And I want to be there. I want to be there. Yes.
I'll gladly hand them over, because I mean, if someone can predict 3 teams or 3 correct scores, they deserve to it. But it hasn't been done yet. Hopefully it will be soon, or at least people will start to get better at predicting. Newcastle versus Man United. Dan, what do you think?
I just think it's very difficult to take Newcastle on when they're at home. Newcastle are home, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll go for 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 to Newcastle. Howard.
Yeah, I've 2-0 Newcastle. But like, yeah, feel like we're all giving us think about, well, that's difficult, but like we're all not really giving United a hope these days, and like we all predicted, I think, Everton to win last weekend.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm saying it with like I'm saying it on the basis that Newcastle are at home, but you just don't know United at the moment. They could end up playing terribly and winning 1-0 or something. But anyway.
Yeah. Kieran?
Yeah, I think that's my prediction. Far be it from me to boost for United or pump for United ever, but I think, yeah, why not? I think they have a run of form behind them, and they've been winning ugly for a while now. So yeah, 1-0 to United for me, I think.
The record though against the top is quite poor, isn't it? But just it's hard taking Newcastle on. Interesting. Yeah, good game. Is it on? I think that's one of the late games, is it?
Yeah, I think it's on live as well. Yeah. Okay, Chelsea versus Brighton. Dan.
Oh, Chelsea at home, are they?
Chelsea at home, yeah.
Yeah. I'll go for 3-1 Chelsea.
3-1 Chelsea. Okay, Howard.
I have 2-1, or no, sorry, 1-1. I put down
1-1.
1-1. Yeah. So Brighton, Brighton haven't been great. I see Lewis Dunk got sent off for dissent there at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
They're in Europe as well, aren't they? Don't be great after European. They're
That's
European
right,
matches, aren't they?
Yeah. It's all over Brighton, like whatever team they show up, like, and they're all firing.
That's
They're
true.
hard bet, like, you know what I mean?
They're having an odd season. Like they can win 2 games and then lose one type thing.
Yeah.
Kieran, you have your hand up there. Do you want to say something?
Oh, well, I'm just rubbing the back of my head.
A nice new haircut. Yeah, what do you think?
I hear what you say about Duncan. I hear what you say about the Europa League, but I can't bet against Evan Ferguson, so I'm going to say a 2-1 victory to Brighton. Yeah.
Wasn't a cracking finish, wasn't it, Kieran? Weekend,
yeah, beauty. Yeah, him and Ogbene playing well this weekend as well. It's very good to see.
Ogbene is playing well for Luton, isn't he?
Yeah,
we just need to get Steve Bruce in now.
Or Neil
He'd work well. He worked well with them, Ogbene and Ferguson.
I've heard that fucking rumor. Like, is that genuine? Is he being?
He was before. He was. Must have been back when, pretty much when our campaign was over, and then I decided to keep Kenny in the job to the end of the campaign. Bruce was the favourite. And I remember we talked about it, I think, on the pod here and that as well. I said give it to Keane. And Keane is now favourite for it. Just for the basis of that, it'll get bumps on seats, whether he'll do anything with them or not. But I just thought from a point of view. But I suppose Neil Lennon seems to be another one that's coming to the forefront as well now. So, but it's they don't really have the money. Sure, the government are stopping funds again there over mismanagement. So, like, you know, that you could end up back in the FA in the League of Ireland looking for a manager to take them on. Like, you don't know what state of affairs are going to be in. But Bruce, I can imagine Bruce in there now with Ogbene and Ferguson working wonders.
Yeah. I mean, just on a side note on the FAI, in the complete off chance that anyone from the FAI is listening, okay, you are a disgrace. Every single one of you on the board are a disgrace, okay? From the whole thing of having females on the board to the CEO not knowing being how much he was paid, you're all a fucking disgrace, okay? Nothing has changed from a few years ago when there was supposedly reformation was taking place. You were a joke then, you're a joke now. The Irish Football Association, it ceases to exist because you are running it like a circus. That's all I have to say.
Lads, the pod has been, it's been nice knowing you on the pod, lads. I've enjoyed the time.
You're talking there, Dag, as if you know someone is listening.
I don't. I'm just a passionate Irish man with stuff to get off my chest about the FAI. You know?
But just on the Keane thing, I think Keane would be good if he had someone with him who could do the tactical McAteer.
Oh, stop. A good tag team there.
The two boys, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right though. If you got him in and got someone
tactically shoot, you know.
Yeah. The problem is, Pearl Keane could go in now, and he could. You know the way players are now. The Keane style. I'm not sure whether that works now. Ferguson would probably just take the hump and be gone.
Yeah.
Are we seriously talking about Roy Keane for manager of Ireland?
Yeah, I don't believe. I'm listening, but I'm not.
Go on, Kieran. Let it get off your chest.
Let's be real. Come on. If there's any Keane, it's Robbie Keane. Okay.
There's a great Dan. You sent me the clip of Robbie Keane doing a press conference. It's absolutely genius. Where is the press conference?
Isn't he? He's with Tel Aviv.
Israel, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Did you see it as well, Kieran? Howard, have you seen it?
Oh, I haven't seen it. No. What is it? Is he come across well or terrible?
No, he comes across as like he Dan, you'll probably do it better justice than I will. Can you explain it?
No, I can't just remember. He was trying to have the crack, wasn't he? He was trying to kind of like. Wasn't it? And it was kind of like he was laughing. Nobody could hear laughing, and no one was laughing with you. And
he makes a comment saying, "What are these coaches like? You know, they're not that great, are they?"
Basically, he says something like, "Can they do a job for you?" And the understanding is totally lost in
Irish humor gone wrong place, wrong time. Anyway, we'll go back to our weekend predictions. Manchester City versus Spurs. Dan.
I'm going to go for 4-1 City.
Okay. Howard.
2-0 City.
2-0 City. And Kieran.
Angie.
3-0
Man City.
3-0 Man City, okay. Hopefully. All right, brilliant. So again, we would like as many people to get involved in this as possible. So you can send in your predictions to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, by any means. And if you were to get all 3 correct scores, you'll win 2 match tickets to a Premier League game to a Premier League team of your choice. Right, we'll move on to fantasy football. I had a look at the table before we came on. Dan is making moves, and Howard is falling behind.
Am I? No, very tight, is it?
No, you're falling backwards, man.
Am I? I did not have that the same. I had the same amount of points as Dan, pretty much. Did I this week?
You were up in 6 and 7. Now you're down in 10th.
It's all I need to get rid of. Yeah, there's 2 players.
We had this conversation a few weeks ago, Howard. You went no Salah.
Yeah, Salah. Well, yeah.
You know Watkins. No Watkins either.
No Watkins. Watkins is killing me a bit. Yeah. No, I have a good bit in the bank, so I must start making moves. I just haven't. I haven't got around to it yet.
Have a bit of interest on it.
Yeah, I have a bit of interest. Yeah, like 3.5 million in the bank there, so I'll do something well with it now in the next while. So watch this space. Watch this space. It's fairly tight though, isn't it? It's very tight. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Claire Breslin is still leading the way there with Friday Night Lights, and like the biggest score so far now. I know Fulham play Wolves, but like 60 points was kind of was the highest, so there was no one kind of getting anything too big. We were like mid-40s there, myself and yourself, Howard. Like so it's an average. A lot of people were in around that 40 to 50 mark, so it wasn't too much movement. Couple other lads there then.
I had Matty Cash and he fucking came off at half time. Don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, and I think the lads that kind of done a bit better had Gordon in their team. He had a very good game and he's a differential that not too many have.
Yeah.
So a couple of guys had him. Like it is, as it has been all season, like it's still quite tight there. Definitely in the first like you're Howard.
I made a few bad times. Like I signed Bowen during the international break, and then he fucking got injured, of course. So
I thought he might play this weekend. Moyes was talking about he never said that he wasn't going to play, so I left him in. But and then Diaby he went off, and I was taken off at half time as well. So I had a couple that didn't go my way, as they said. I captained Saka actually.
All right,
because. He got an assist, It was kind of I seen a lot of either Haaland, Salah. They kind of still went to them, and I kind of just thought I'd go the juggler. But it's hard to know, like, isn't it? Yeah,
fair enough. Just actually, you were saying that over Christmas, do people play their wild cards, or they've already done that?
A lot of people usually after, if not the first or second international break, sometimes even after the first bloody week, you play their wild card. It depends how wrong you get it, but you get another wild card after Christmas. So
all right.
So what will happen now is people will load up at some point there, and then there's still the triple captain that most people haven't played. So at some point there might be a double game week where there'll be 2 matches that'll be counted in the same game week point wise. Usually people will triple captain probably in that week. So it's very tight there anyway, and Howard now he's got his money to spend, so we'll check in with him next week to see whether or not he's improved.
Yeah. I still only have one free transfer. I don't have any problem, so we'll see.
Use it wisely. All right, so just a reminder as well for the eventual winner of our fantasy football competition, you'll win a club jersey of your choice. Move on now to the final segment, which is Monksland United. So at the weekend, they were in action against Balnahown in the Paddy Cotter Cup, round 1. Great game, from what I hear. Balnahown won 3-2, though, unfortunately, for Monksland. Balnahown went up 1-0. Monksland came back 2-1. Balnahown came back and beat them 3-2. So it was very much back and forth. This weekend coming, the B team are away to Coolrain on Sunday at 11, and the home team are at home, Monksland A versus St. Peter's in Cushla at 2 p.m. So that will be that'll be a tough game, I'd say, because there's a rivalry that's gone back years, but it'll be a good game. All right, men, we've come to the end of the show. Is there any other business we would like to discuss?
I would just like to point out that as long as we've been on this podcast, I think the Declan has gone very, very soft at Vincent Kompany from the get-go. I smell the bias from here. Just like to point that out.
I've gone soft in what way?
You just like we gave fucking, what was his name? Heckelbottom got an awful doing. Jesus, Luton got an awful doing. And there's Burnley, and you don't say anything about Kompany.
I'll be honest, all right. I started the season thinking that Burnley were going to be flying. I mean, I stupidly predicted like they were going to be in the top half. Not a hope. They're doing dirt. And Vincent Kompany, for whatever, maybe he was a bit naive coming up trying to play that type of football in the Premier League, but he's got it wrong. And unless things change, as I said, he could be out of a job in a few weeks. Genuinely.
Yeah.
So something needs to change for them big time. Again, the game at the weekend, like they were winning 1-0 up until the 91st minute. So luck has a lot to do with it as well. But we'll see what happens. If things don't change, he could definitely be out of a job. Kieran, Howard, anything else?
Nothing for me, Deck.
Kieran?
My question is,
Oh, you have a question.
what's the plan for the Christmas party for the FFP family?
So Howard, myself, and Dan will be going for a lunch. Yeah, the family. You think you're
paying for it, Howard? Who's paying for it?
Yeah.
No. Christmas party. I don't know. Actually, me, you, and Howard will be on Christmas Eve. Most likely, we will be in the kitchen in Kiltoom, having a few beers. Dan will phone you in maybe on Zoom or something like that. You know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, well, maybe if the four of us are around, we could do something. One thing we are actually trying to bring in over Christmas is a competition, and we nearly have the kind of details ironed out, but it will be a game over the Christmas period where we will be selecting, the viewers will be asked to select the first minute where the goal is scored, and there will be a €50 one for all voucher up for grabs as well. So it's guaranteed to go. So when we do kind of post more details about it, get your predictions in early. First come, first serve. So we'll give you more details about that next week. So gentlemen, we will leave it there. Thank you very much as always. Kieran, it's good to see you. I'm sure you'll be back over the coming weeks. Howard and Dan, as always, it's a pleasure. Dan,
Okay,
not
Jack.
so much. No worries. All right, guys. Listen, have a good week, okay?
Cheers.
Take care, folks.
Cheers, guys. Good luck.